Ezekiel Elliott, Deandre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, Saquon Barkley. And by the way, I've been using this reference with my stuff for years. Kind of funny to see this being replicated out there on a few channels. People are copying the show's stuff. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. Go buy low on Zeke Elliott while you can. He's a top 1 to 4 overall player, yet people are actually ranking him outside the top 5 to 6 overall. And I get it. Expectations were high. People had high hopes coming off of a very frustrating offseason with him. There was a lot of buildup, and he hasn't quite delivered. His 35 yards last week, he did have a touchdown, but his 35 yards will have owners questioning whether he's going to be consistent all year long. People have short memories. They won't remember the 125 yards he had the week prior. He did not have a TD, though. The week before that, in week 2, 111 yards and 1 touchdown. But he hasn't been delivering in the receiving game. In each week, he's had 10, 9, 14, and 30 yards. Not a great start to the year for a guy that's supposed to be a PPR machine. As soon as week 5 kicks off, this buy window closes on Zeke. I love that Zeke is now a buy low. You won't steal him away, but you can win a league at the value you can probably get him for right now. Don't be that guy that doesn't at least make the attempt and want somebody else to do it because you didn't send an offer out. Deandre Hopkins, what I just said about Zeke, multiply it by 10, then light it on fire. People are freaking out about DeAndre Hopkins, and I can understand why there might be a little bit of a hesitation or, hey, what's going on with him? They struggled in week 4. Throw week 4 out the window. The entire offense was not on the same page. He still had 5 receptions for 41 yards. In week 1, he had 8 receptions, 13 targets. He had 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. What more do you want? Yes, week 2, no TDs. Week 3, no TDs. Week 4, no TDs. I get it. But I love knee-jerk reactions. I'm going to take a stab at getting DeAndre Hopkins in every one of my leagues that I don't own him in. I'm not selling even remotely on the cheap. I'm selling him at top 5 to 6 overall value, or I'm not selling him. Expect a top 1 to 3 wide receiver moving forward. I have no questions about this. I love Deshaun Watson moving forward, and I'm going to talk about him next. Watkins will deliver to Hopkins, and if you own the stack, it's going to be through the roof moving forward. That brings us to Deshaun Watson, who went off in week 1, just like Hopkins did. There's a correlation there. I believe in Watkins. That's why I believe in Hopkins delivering top 1 to 3 wide receiver numbers moving forward. I believe Watson will be a top 2 to 3 QB moving forward. He's currently my number 2 QB for weeks 5 through 16. 268, 4 total TDs, and 40 rushing yards in week 1. People forget so quickly in this game. He had no passing TDs in week 2. He did have a rushing TD, but he had a mediocre week 2. No question about it. He bounced back in week 3, throwing for 351, 3 TDs, rushed for 18 yards. And then there was week 4 against Carolina, which has everybody in panic mode, which I'm taking advantage of 100%. How do you go get Deshaun Watson in a trade? Use what I always reference as the house's money. If you acquired Waller or Andrews at tight end and you already had a Kittle who's now done with his bye, make a trade. Use the house's money to upgrade your QB. Same thing if you picked up some hot wide receiver that's going off. Use the house's money to upgrade into a Deshaun Watson. Watson, Mahomes, A-Rod, these guys can carry you every single week with their 40 overall TD potential. Getting 3 or 4 TDs a week on the average will get you a win, will help you get a win when other players aren't delivering. And when everybody's firing on all cylinders, it's the teams that have a QB like that are scoring the 190 and 200 points in your league. Make an offer. Don't sit on your hands and let somebody else make a deal for Deshaun Watson. That brings me to Saquon Barkley. This is the one player you can buy low and make people upset in your league. This is where you're typing up your TPS reports right now while Bob in accounting is offering Bill in repo a deal for Barkley, and he's 0-4, or he's 1-3 because he had Barkley, his first rounder, go out. So Bill in repo is going to give him away. And here you are typing up your TPS reports, just, ignoring the fact that you could be sending trade offers out Then you get this email that comes across your workstation that Bob just rammed Bill for Saquon Barkley and you didn't even make an attempt. Don't be the guy that says, why didn't I make an offer? He was giving him away for free. Bill in Repo doesn't know what he's doing. Bill in Repo's wanting to make the playoffs. He's willing to give up something to try and get a hope that he can get enough wins to make the playoffs. Don't be Bob. Because Bob's.
Take a lap, take a lap, take a lap, take a lap.
Let's talk about JuJu Smith-Schuster. Everybody's freaking out. This guy is droppable, I've heard. I've seen people actually write in my comments. And if you said that,
take a lap, take a lap, take a lap, take a lap.
I'm shocked that after 4 weeks, a guy that has pulled in 78 yards, 84 yards, and 81 yards, in which he had a touchdown, and yes, then week 4 he had 15 yards. Very disappointing. And that offense isn't throwing down the field. They throw 2 yards down the field at a time. Very effectively, apparently. But out of all wide receivers in the entire league, JuJu is the one wide receiver that could thrive in a short catch and go situation. He makes his own space. He's ultra quick. He's like Antonio Brown in that you can't contain him on a crossing route. You can line him up all over the field, and he's impossible to cover. JuJu will find his way. His 6 receptions, 5, 3, and 3. His 78 yards, 84 yards, 81 yards, and yes, 15. His 0-0-1 and 0 TDs. That's not the worst line in the whole world. It's not great. Not for a guy you drafted at 12 to 14, but guess what? You don't have to pay that to go get him. You can go get him at like 3rd round equivalent value. Plug him into your low-end wide receiver 2 spot and you're off to the races. You can buy him right now at value that even if he disappoints and continues to play the way he's been playing, you get your money back. What is wrong with you? Make an offer. Go see Bill in Repo. Bill doesn't know what he's doing. George Kittle, 10 targets in week 1, 8 receptions, 54 yards, 0 TDs. But what people don't know, and I know you can play woulda, shoulda, coulda with anybody, but he had 2 TDs called back. Very different story we're telling if he has 2 TDs and like 100 yards on his week 1 stat line. So 8 receptions for 54 in week 1, 0 TDs. 3 receptions for 54 in week 2, 0 TDs. And then his 6 receptions for 54 yards, 0 TDs in week 3. Not the worst stat line in the world, but clearly not playing like the home run hitter, the 100-yard receiver we all expected to see in 2019. He's coming off a bye. That's a huge advantage if you're able to trade for him. Go buy low on George Kittle, and I think you're going to get top 2 tight end numbers moving forward. The 49ers are playing great. They're going to lean on him. I think we're going to see a whole lot of Kittle over the middle moving forward, which is coined from my boy RSF 49ers, who I go live with every Thursday at halftime on IG, by the way. Join me. Join us. Devin Singletary has shown flashes of brilliance, and then he got hurt. His owners are probably very frustrated that he's not in there yet. They probably expect him maybe never to amount to anything. Go buy low. There's a chance that he doesn't stay healthy. There's a chance that they don't use him right, but I'm willing to bet on his value right now, which is trading for flex type value. He has top 9 to 14 overall running back appeal moving forward. He just needs to get on the field and stay on the field. That's the risk, but that's why you can get him cheap. I believe in Devin Singletary. He's an ankle breaker, and when he gets in there, he's going to be brilliant. David Montgomery, I know. And I'm very disappointed in him as well. I'm more disappointed in how they use him. And although they gave him 20 plus carries last week, that's on him. He got the attempts. He still hasn't been used effectively, consistently. I think that changes. His rushing attempts have gone from 6 to 18, then they dipped down to 13, then to 21. So it's moving in the right direction. It was just the 2.5 yards a pop he had in week 4 that killed him. He had 21 rushes. Go buy him low and sit on him. They play Oakland next week. I think he has a good game. They have a bye in week 6. It could be after the bye week that he gets going. But this is the NFL. This is not baseball. where you are what you are average-wise during the middle of the year. This is football, where in week 10, you could become the best running back moving forward from weeks 10 through 16. Don't sleep on the upside here if you can buy him low. If you can buy him at value where you can afford to wait. That's the whole point of buying low. The buying low video here is not to talk about how disappointed we are about the values that guys were drafted at and how the expectation was higher. This is not that video. This video is about you being crafty, being creative, and going and getting a player on the cheap that can deliver way more than the investment that you're kicking in. David Montgomery fits the bill for a player you can trade for that can hit a home run and win you a league. So go get him. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not subscribed so you know when I go live. Hit the bell notification so you know when I'm live. And we'll talk about this stuff on my lives. I do like 4 or 5 lives a week, and I go live every Sunday morning, 1 hour before kickoff. You can join me every single Sunday morning, and I do my Wednesday 1 hour CBS Sports radio show interview. It's an hour long. I stream it live right here on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show, and it's 10 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern every single Wednesday. Join me, and that's tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. Top 5 running back. You're watching The Fantasy Football Show.